Pokemon is an extremely nostalgic series for a lot of people. It's hard to find someone born in the 90s or later whose childhood wasn't influenced by the franchise in some way or another. Over the past few weeks, I took it upon myself to pick up a few of the older games again to relive parts of my childhood, and doing so has completely changed my perspective on the games I once loved. Playing them again now, I realize that especially for a game heavily marketed towards children, there's a lot of inappropriate and offensive material throughout the series that literally no one of any age should be exposed to. Not only this, but the games are just objectively not good, and I'm positive I can convince you of this by the end of the video. So anyway, let's get into it. The first problem is that the games are just way too grindy. Even if you fight every trainer you can, you still have to grind at some parts. They expect you to just waste several hours fighting wild Pokemon to gain the needed levels, especially near the end of the game. I'm not sure why every Japanese game is like this, but I'm guessing it has something to do with their workaholic nature as a society. It's even worse if you want to add a new Pokemon to your party, so you have to level it up for an even longer amount of time just to make it useful. As for catching the Pokemon, one of the primary goals of the game, catching them all, is literally impossible on any of the games without special giveaway events, trading, or hacks and glitches. I just want Gengar, why do I have to trade to get him, Game Freak? Also, it's pretty annoying that they have several Pokemon labeled as legendary when they're really not legendary at all. Everyone can catch them and they're in literally every single copy of the game. They're also in a set location that you can always find them at, all you have to do is look it up online. It doesn't make any sense, but the starter Pokemon are actually more rare and harder to get for some reason. Another problem is that every single one of the games is too easy. The AI is really bad and they just spam crappy moves, except for maybe the Elite Four. The only way to be challenged at the game is to purposefully be underleveled or impose a self-restriction on yourself. The most popular form of this is the Nuzlocke, but that doesn't even make the game fun. All in all, the game feels like it was designed for children when we all know the real target audience is 35-year-old Funko Pop collecting neckbeard soy boys. Actually, I guess that's why they're so easy, never mind. Most of the money made from Pokemon is from these people who spend every cent of their allowance on collectible merchandise, feeding into the gotta catch 'em all mentality, which was designed specifically to siphon funding from mentally vulnerable individuals. This is displayed clearly when you consider the fact that Game Freak and Nintendo sell the same game to you multiple times because they know they can get away with it. For example, the only difference between Pokemon Gold and Silver is a few minor changes like which Pokemon you can catch, as a way to incentivize you to pay them double and waste twice as much time grinding away at the game. You could argue that they do this to encourage trading, but they are completely aware of the fact that you don't have any friends, and the executives know it's just an excuse to increase profit margins. Not only this, but they then release a solitary version a year or two later, which most of the time just changes the Pokemon on the front of the game and like 3 lines of dialogue. And then they remake those games again after that. Rinse and repeat for every game they have ever made, and then cash in on that sweet nostalgia money. Not only do they shoot for a new main series game every year now, I haven't even touched on the spin-off games yet, and I'm not going to. There are way too many and none are worth touching with a 10-foot pole. If you like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, you were likely dropped as a child. I'm sorry if this is news for you. However, all of these are just drops in the bucket and truly serve as a gateway material to the real diabolic money-grabbing scheme of the Pokemon Company, the trading card game. This is all pretty complex, so I'm going to try and do my best to dumb it down in a way where Pokemon fans can understand. Basically, the Pokemon Company uses its branding of recognizable and nostalgic characters to sell very expensive pieces of literal cardboard to fans of the franchise. The cards sell for a boatload of money on the aftermarket because of a carefully crafted formula specifically patented by former Nintendo President Reggie. Following this equation, they can approximate the value of a card with high accuracy before it's ever released. They then print large quantities of the exceptionally valuable cards in secret and sell them on sites like TCG Player using proxy sellers that funnel the money right back to Papa Nintendo. The cards you get when you buy a pack are basically completely random, and they use this loophole in the law to allow legal gambling for children who are desperate for a foil copy of the Hot Bunny Pokemon. Also, it's obvious popular streamers like Ludwig and Critikal are deep in the pockets of the Pokemon Company. They constantly post blatantly sponsored videos that target children to coerce them into buying card packs. They do this by showing off the epic pulls they manage to get from the rigged packs that Nintendo sends to them. While I don't have a source for any of this, it's pretty obvious that this is all factually true if you just go watch their videos. Honestly though, the worst part is that the Pokemon trading card game inevitably leads thousands of children every year to start playing Magic the Gathering. The MTG pipeline is real sadly, and I unfortunately have experienced this firsthand. And of course, I can't talk trash about Pokemon without mentioning how the game incentivizes animal abuse amongst children and adults alike. Really, when it comes down to it, Pokemon are just normal animals in their world, so basically they send children across the land to master the art of cockfighting at the ripe age of 10. Most Pokemon clearly are not significantly intelligent, so they can't consent to fighting. Speaking of consent, Pokemon fans seem to have a hard time understanding this basic concept. All Pokemon fans go down one of two paths, and sometimes they even go down both at once. However, it is unfair to completely blame the fans on this when this was yet another primary goal of Nintendo with the creation of Pokemon. Via recently leaked files from Nintendo HQ, it was revealed that in 2011 the Pokemon Company launched a top-secret corporate branch codenamed Pokophilia. The primary goal of this branch was to commission Pokemon Rule 34 from freelance artists on Pixiv and DeviantArt. This graph shows meta tag usage on a popular NSFW image board website, and we can see that there was a significant spike in Pokemon related content after this branch was established in 2011. Nintendo is purposefully manipulating its fans' brain chemistries to further the positive association of Pokemon via a dopamine dependency complex. Also, remember that time a bunch of Pokemon fans were enraged at a Japanese artist because they drew Nessa a few shades too light? Further proof that Pokemon rot your brain. I really don't think there's a way you could defend Pokemon after seeing all the proof in this video, but if you've got anything, let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching.